Hello. So I wanted to make a video to give you some ideas for things you can include in your annotation. So I'm in the 101 course and I've got the danger of a single story, and you can see there's a couple options here about downloading a copy. And what I've done is I've chosen to download a Word copy of it and make annotations on that. So it's your prerogative. You can, according to the assignment instructions, you can print out a copy of this and write on it. Annotate right on that copy, highlight right on that copy, or you can do what I did and you can download a Word copy and make edits there. I'm actually fine with either. There are instructions on how to submit a handwritten copy, so just make sure you follow those if you print it and write on it. But what I have done is I have created a copy of this with a couple things added in. And I'm going to include it for you guys. Let me just pull it up. I have included it in the Unit 1 learning materials so that you can see it. If you want to use this template to start. Of course, that's not working right now. Okay, I fixed it. So you can just choose to download it, which I've already done, and then open it. And there's a couple things already written on there. And you can change these as you see fit. You can delete some of them if you don't want to do them. But what I've done is I've given you some ideas of things that you might want to write onto your document. And I'll give you some ideas of how you might want to mark up the document if you're doing it as a Word document. Okay. So what I've written at the top, I've written topic, main idea. I'm actually going to change that around maybe. And feel free to do this as well. You can move stuff around. You don't have to. The reason that I'm doing this is because when I talk about it, I want to talk about the main idea last. This main idea is probably the last thing you want to fill in. Words that are positive, I might go through and highlight in green. Words that are negative, I'm going to go through and highlight in purple. And words that show emotion that I'm not really seeing, I'm not really clear if it's positive or negative, I just want to make a note of it, I'm going to do those in yellow. If I might have some positive words that do show emotion, but I'll choose to do it in green. There's not a hard and fast science about how you do this. It's just important that you do it. The purpose of annotation is to make sure that you're getting the most out of the story that you possibly can. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, that sounds not great. So I'm going to highlight that in purple. Maybe I want to say, that one strikes me as negative. This one just kind of shows like maybe some, again, this is kind of subjective. So I'm going through and I am highlighting these words to get an idea. One of the reasons that I'm doing that is because when we look back and we try and think of what the main idea is, some of these words can help us. Who is the target audience? I'm going to answer this question starting with the phrase people who. A lot of times when we're asked who the audience is, the response the students give or the people give is, oh, it's for everybody. It's really for everybody. But that's not true, because if everything were written for everybody, we'd read everything. There's a specific group of people who might be more interested in this than others. So if you start with the phrase people who, it can really help you. People who are accountants, people who are interested in the law, people who care about dinosaurs, people who are worried about the environment. Do you see how starting with the phrase people who can help you to really figure out who the people are that this is written for, that this is targeting? When you have an idea of the audience and you have an idea of some of the positives and negatives and the words that exist, you can go through and try and think of the topic. You can also look for the topic first if you want to. That also works. The topic is just a phrase. It's probably a phrase that appears in the title. it's probably a phrase that you see over and over again. If you see a word or a phrase repeated or synonyms for a certain word or phrase over and over again in a paper, that's probably the topic. I'm going to give a sample topic that is not the topic of this paper, so don't write this down. But let's say love in California. You're reading an article and it keeps talking about love, romance, love, California, the state of California, the Golden State. That's going to let you know, or the title is Finding Love in California. That's going to let you know that this is the topic that's being discussed. The main idea is going to be the writer's take on that topic. What does the writer want to tell you about that topic? So you can start with your topic itself. So we know it's about love in California, but the main idea is always going to be a sentence. It's never going to be a phrase, and it's never going to be a question. So I don't want to see any question marks at the end of this. Main idea, love in California is hard. Love in California is great. Love in California is difficult to find. Love in California is, who knows? Lots of options here. But it's going to be a complete phrase explaining what the author says about the topic. If you're having trouble, you can go back and look at the words. So if you see love in California, and next to that phrase, it's constantly highlighted things like words that are positive, like great, wonderful, fantastic, ebullient. Like you have all these wonderful descriptive words, then your main idea is probably going to be pretty positive. Love in California is awesome. It can give you an idea of what's going on in the paper when you annotate. So these are some things that would be worthwhile to note as you're going through and annotating your paper. And you're going to want to go through and highlight throughout, mark it up, get in there. Another thing, if you look down here, is that I have made a little note here about this author. And I say, who is this? And I ask for an answer. The reason I phrased it like this is because you may not necessarily need to answer this question. You'll see that Chinua Achebe is right here, but I haven't put a who is this next to that because I actually have read a book by Chinua Achebe. This is based on my personal experience. I don't need to define words like afterwards because I happen to know what that means. Maybe I do need to illustrate something like, or define something like further down here when I say, what is this? Define, because I'm not as familiar with Igbo. It all depends on me and my personal experience. Here's another example. Maybe I don't know who Mariah Carey is. Then if I want to add something to Mariah Carey, I can choose to, up here, I'm just trying to make it visible for you guys. There we go. On the tabs, I can choose review, new comment, and it'll add a comment in here. And I will say Mariah Carey is, I'm not going to spoil it for you. So if you need to look Mariah Carey up, you can. What you're going to do with these things, these words or people that you don't know, or these ideas that need more investigation, is you're going to go to Wikipedia and look them up. You're going to go to Google and look them up. For words you don't know, for things you need to define, you're going to go to Merriam-Webster.com and define the words you don't know, because that's going to help you understand the article better. So let's say I do know Mariah Carey, then I'm just going to delete this. And you can leave this if you want and just type in about Camaralay. Go through and add in the things that you don't know. I'm going to put this back. Or answer, not that. Answer the things you don't know. Add comments to who you don't know. Give descriptions. If there's an idea in there that you think is a great idea, feel free. The purpose of this is not to worry about whether or not you're making the most brilliant comment ever. The purpose of this is to engage with the text. So if you submit a handwritten version and your handwriting's terrible, I don't care. If it's messy and you cross things out, I don't care. If you make an observation that says something like, oh, I'd never thought about that before, I don't care. What I'm looking for is your engagement with the text and lots of it. So you can see that I've included this, and then down here, I've included a definition as well. You don't have to format it like this. You can just say definition. If you already know, you can delete this one and not answer it in the template that I've included. This is for you. But let's say you, when we get here, Barghouti is a Palestinian poet. So she kind of tells us, the author tells us a little bit right here, a little bit of the definition of this person. But if you want to look up this poet and learn more, you're more than welcome. If you're looking through here and you see people like this, as I'm looking through it, there's a couple people I don't know, it's worth looking into. For instance, I know several of these, given the context of the article, I do know that several of these people are white American males. I don't know if all of them are. Maybe it's worth looking into. It's kind of curious. I don't know. There are going to be other things that you cannot look into, like you're not going to be able to Google this author's cousin Pole, probably. I'm not sure. You can try. Maybe if you don't know who Chinua Achebe is, look him up again, because maybe this is a situation that she's mentioned him twice now, so maybe it's something worth looking into. Maybe you know Jay-Z, but you aren't sure about Fela Kuti. Look it up. I'm trying to find another example. There are some facts in here, some references to historical things. If you don't know much about them, go read about it on Wikipedia. I'm trying to find examples. As you can see, I've really only included a couple comments and I haven't highlighted too much because that's your job. So I'm not going to include a lot of that stuff because that is up to you to look into and to add more to every single page. Oh, here we go. If you don't know much about these events, these historical events, look them up and include an annotation so that you can get the full context of this author's story. Because that's going to help you engage with the text. So as we're looking through here, you can see I haven't done that much. It's up to you to include a lot more. Every single one of these, I think it's 8 pages. Of these 8 pages needs to be marked completely. There need to be comments and definitions and highlighting and underlining and all kinds of things to let me know that you really have engaged with learning about this story. That's what you want in a good annotation. Mark it all up and learn as you do it.